Welcome to Policy on Demand's Week in Review. I'm Pam Olson.
What would you tell clients are your takeaways from this week?
The key takeaway from this week is clearly the Senate action on the Inflation Reduction Act, which was passed by the Senate on Sunday of this week.
Which question related to policy did you get asked the most, and how did you respond?
The questions that have come up the most this week relate to the key revenue-raising provision in the Inflation Reduction Act, which is the book minimum tax, and also to House passage of it, as well as President Biden's signature of it. There's going to be a lot of questions about the book minimum tax because it went into the law at the 11th hour on the House side and then was changed in some respects by the Senate side. So those are the questions that are coming up the most. One of the things that is clear is that there's one law that Congress can't repeal, and that's the Law of Unintended Consequences. This book minimum tax is certain to have a lot of unintended consequences, and we're starting to see some conversation about that already.
Where should companies focus their attention in the coming week?
One of the things that is clear here in DC is that it's August. The only people who are left in town are the people who are here for the House vote, and then some who will be here next week for the signing ceremony that will presumably occur with respect to the Inflation Reduction Act. But everybody else is taking some time off, and if you can take some time off, you might want to do that as well. However, Treasury will soon be turning to its responsibility to implement the provisions in the Inflation Reduction Act, and key among them will be the book minimum tax. Because it was enacted so late in the process and amended so late in the process, there are going to be a lot of those unintended consequences that Treasury is going to be asked to deal with. We saw some colloquies on the Senate side related to some of the unintended consequences of the book minimum tax, and we will see more on the House side. It's interesting because it has been less than 40 years since the U.S. had a book minimum tax, but the people involved, the members involved in crafting this one, don't seem to have looked back to have seen what went wrong with the book minimum tax back in the 80s.